Right, and I'm back, and this time hopefully with a quick video. Well, quicker, okay? I feel like 20 minutes is a pretty quick video, but quicker, okay? Um, I know I briefly discussed my grandpa in another video, so I'm not going to go into too much detail about all of that, but I'm going to tell you guys something that I did that helped me with the grieving process, okay? Now, I understand that grief is something that looks different for everybody. Um, leave it alone, bud. But I'm going to tell you how I felt, what I did, how it made me feel, how it helped me, and just so you guys are aware, I only did it the one time. I only did it once. I thought about doing it some other times, and then I just decided not to. But it is something that helped me a lot, and I think it helped me a lot right at the time that I needed it the most, okay? So my grandpa was pretty much always the person that I went to when something wasn't going so well, whether it was with other family members or with friends or with work or with whatever. It was usually my grandpa that I called and talked to, or when I went over, I sat there and I talked to him, okay? And so when I lost my grandpa, now if somebody else would have passed, probably my grandpa would have been the one that I went and talked to, but what do you do when the one you usually go and talk to is the one that you lost, right? Like, uh so when I was going through counseling, this is actually something that my counselor or therapist told me to do. So I'm not taking any credit for this. I'm just letting you guys know that I did do it and how that helped. I apologize if I get a little emotional in this video. Right now, if my eyes look weird, it's because I've been sneezing. Like, I don't know if it's the cold or what, because, like, I usually don't have allergies, but anyways, a little off topic there. So, I was really struggling, because, again, if you didn't watch the videos where I talked about my grandpa and what happened, long story short, he was basically really, 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 really skinny, and he stopped eating, and basically we all kind of looked at it as like this was his way of kind of like getting on with it without getting on with it. You know, you get what I'm saying. Um, and so to put it into perspective, he was 6'4", and he probably weighed about 140 pounds, 135, like literally skin and bones. Okay, like it was extremely sad to see him like that. The part that sucked the most, I think, was the doctors saying if he would gain some weight, that he could live another 15, 20 years, okay? Um, he was 80 when he passed away. So 15 to 20, you know, pretty good there. But, yeah, he was 80. And, yeah, so, you know, we tried to get him to eat all that jazz, and it didn't work. I had seen him in October. He had passed away that December. And so it's been 5 years. Okay, December 4th was 5 years. Which, wow, that went by really fast, okay? But so I was having a really hard time because I didn't think he should have died, you know? Like, but at the same time, there was nothing any of us could do. He had been like that for quite a while. He had no plans on making it any better. Didn't really help that his wife was no help either. that was a hard part for me too, because I blamed my grandma for a lot of it, and I was really mad at my grandma. Um, so what I did was, when my husband was not home, this is probably something that you should do when nobody else is around, okay? Not because it's weird or something, but because you might get really emotional, and it's just better to do those kinds of things when other people are not around. Not saying not to show your emotions to others, but if you're trying to have that kind of conversation out loud, because once I explain what I did, it'll make more sense. Again, it's just best to do it when you're by yourself. Especially because then you don't really have to worry about what you say. But what he told me to do was to grab a chair and sit the chair in front of me and pretend basically like my grandpa was sitting in the chair and I was talking to my grandpa. And at first, I was kind of like, okay, like, I can give that a try. I didn't really think it was gonna really do anything, but I'm all for trying things. I'm huge on trying stuff, okay? Try stuff, try a bunch of stuff, try the stuff a lot of times, do what you gotta do, okay? So one day, I was alone at home, and I was sitting on the couch, and I was struggling, okay? Emotionally, I was struggling. And I was like, you know what? I can do what my therapist said to do. So I looked over at the chair, and I went to get up, and even just like walking over to the chair, I was like I don't think that I can do this, And the moment I grabbed the chair, before I even moved it over to where I was sitting, I just immediately started crying. Because I knew that I was supposed to, in a sense, pretend that he was sitting here in this chair. And I could barely drag the chair over to where I was sitting, okay? But finally, I moved it over to across from where I was on the couch, and I sat on the couch, and for the first probably 5 minutes or so, I was just crying. I couldn't even stop crying, even though that chair was empty. I just couldn't. I could barely look at the chair. But then I sat there and I let out everything to that chair. I told it how angry I was with my grandma. I was so mad, okay? I was pissed. Like, again, for those of you who don't know, my grandpa, aside from my immediate family, my grandpa was my favorite relative. He was always there for us, sometimes a little harsh, because he was definitely one of those who was still kind of stuck in the 1940s, 1950s, a little racist, a little sexist, a little, but we all understood, so most of the time it wasn't really all that offensive, but it still did, kind of hurt sometimes when you love this person and these are the things that they're telling to you, saying to you. Anyways, so yeah, I sat there and I just told him how mad I was and then how sad it was, and then I ended it by going over all the happy times together. Because I don't know about you guys and your emotions, but that's usually how it works for me. Even if we get rid of the happy stuff, I'm usually angry first and then I'm sad. Okay? The anger usually always comes first. Okay? I don't really know why. I know other people are very similar. When it comes to their emotions like that, it's just anger and then the sadness. Okay? I don't know if that's like my fight mode kicking in instead of the flight. I don't really know, but it's always the anger, the like, I'm gonna beat you up mode, and then it gets into like, what the hell is happening? And then you get all sad and stuff like that, right? So that's how it went, and then, but then I needed to shift it to being happy. So when I started talking about all the things, we did together and all the ridiculous times my grandpa lit something on fire, um, it ended very happy. Obviously still, it's not going to make up for the fact that you lost someone, but the fact that I was able to actually get it all out, not have to sit there and worry about someone else saying something to me or telling me I shouldn't think that way or getting upset at me because I told him I was mad at my grandma and blamed my grandma for everything. I didn't have to worry about somebody trying to fix my problems. I didn't have to worry about any of that. I just was able to just let it all out. And that was like the best thing ever. Like, I don't think any other therapy session was going to beat the one I just did right there with a empty chair and, thinking of my grandpa. Obviously, it's always tough talking about losing a loved one, even if it was 20 years ago that you lost them or 10 minutes ago. And you know how people say that it always gets better with time? It does. But what I mean with that, because some people will say, no, it doesn't. It's not that you forget about your loved one. It's not that it's not painful. It's just that it's not as fresh. It's not something that you maybe think about on a daily basis. Okay? Like, it's not every day that I run around like, oh, I don't have a grandpa anymore. Oh, lost my grandpa. Oh, huh. Don't have a grandpa. Oh, pick up the, oh, can't call grandpa. Now, the first, few weeks, few months, it was like, oh, can't call grandpa. Okay. Yeah, when people want to ask me how my family's doing, well, lost my grandpa. Like, in the beginning, you say that, but if somebody asks me how my family is now, I'm not going to be like, oh, yeah, I lost my grandpa 5 years ago. Like, it's just something that's not as fresh. So it's easier to go about your day after time has passed, okay? Now, I understand that some people lose a loved one and they let it ruin them for a long time. Please don't do that to yourself. One, you know that they would not like that you're doing that to yourself. Two, that is not good for you or for whoever else around you that might be depending on you as well. Get some help. And I understand that some of you are, I can't afford a therapist. I can't afford this. Call the freaking hotline if you really need to. Call freaking somebody. I'm sure that there is somebody out there that is willing to listen to what you're going through and to help you out and to help you get to a better place. Or at least point you in the direction of somebody that can help you in the way that you need to be helped. Don't let yourself suffer like that. And again, I get it. Some of you might be like, oh, you don't know what it's like to lose a husband. I know I don't know what that's like because I have my husband. And I know a lot of people lost their husbands and their wives during COVID or before COVID. I know that there's lots of tragic ways that people pass away. Yes, I will never understand the pain of losing a child or the pain of losing a parent because I haven't lost a parent yet. But I'm telling you, it's not worth it to ruin your whole entire life because you lost one person. Some of you just let it just... Don't do that to yourself or to others. I know that it's hard because I've seen other people go through it. So I know. I understand what it's like, okay? I don't know exactly what it feels like, but I understand it because I've seen it in others. I know people. I mean, well, my sister knew this person. I didn't know him myself. Um, who I think they lost a daughter. And so he ended up taking his own because it just couldn't bear that grief and stuff of losing that daughter. But he left behind his other kids and his wife, I believe, or the mother of the, other children, whatever. And it's like, well, yes, you lost a child, but now your wife lost a child and a husband. Those kids lost a sibling and a dad. Like, I'm not saying like, what I'm saying is get some help. Don't, and understand and learn the warning signs of people who might be going through stuff like that could potentially end up in that situation. There's nothing to be ashamed about when it comes to getting help. Male, female, young, old, whatever. There is no shame in getting some help and getting back on track and getting your life together. I get it. It's hard. Trust me, it's not easy. And I get that. But you can do it. You can move on. You can eventually still live a life you always wanted to live. And again, I get that some of you might say, no, I can't because I don't have that person anymore. Well, put them on a little necklace. Put them on a bracelet. Put them on a something and carry them with you everywhere you go. But live out the hopes and dreams that you guys had together. Live them out and bring them with you everywhere you go. That's what I would do if that happened to me. I always pray that it never does, but we cannot control that. But I do hope if there's some of you that are watching this video that do struggle with this, or maybe you know a family member that does, please get them some help. Alright, for now, that's the end of this video. I hope you all got something out of this video. I hope those of you that are struggling try to do what it is that I did. Maybe you need to do it more than once. Maybe you need more than one share for multiple people if that's the case. Or maybe you need to do it more than once with one chair, but every time it's a different person. Do what you gotta do. I will see you guys in the next video.